And the share screen button will still be there, yeah?
Yes, you will.
Because with the other speakers...
We're joining out. We're joining that. Hello, welcome back. So it's been an exciting day so far. Had some amazing speakers. We've had Sharon, we've had Dr. Hasina, we've had Gagan, and now we've got the amazing Azmina Jiwa. She's also one of the sponsors of the event as well. So she's got a sponsorship table. Head over to the arena between the breaks and in between sessions if you'd like to speak to Azmina there. And she's got her little introductory video. I was just getting intrigued by a minute ago. And Azmina is a wonderful, wonderful personal development trainer. Her topic today is 5 Keys for Freedom to Be You. She's also the author of the book, Freedom to Be You. So without further ado, and just being mindful of the time, over to yourself, Azmina. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Suman. And it absolutely would not have possible to have this opportunity without your hard work and Tristan, of course. So thank you both very, very much for this this amazing event, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be able to speak and share my knowledge and connect with so many people. So thank you so much. Well, I'm going to start with actually sharing my screen, and hopefully, let's see, it all goes well. Share. Okay, so I'm going to talk about freedom to be you. And my journey has been freedom to be me. Okay, the screen isn't opening, but let me just...
Yeah, I'll let you know when it's on, because I can see it on this side.
Okay, so keep talking. So, yeah, why freedom to be you and freedom to be me? Why did my journey start, or how did it start? So I was in this place about 20 years ago when I suddenly found myself not feeling very happy at all, being very, very tearful, feeling worthless. In spite of having done things in my life, I was like, I haven't done anything, I'm so useless. And all those kind of things were coming up for me. And my heart used to palpitate. I didn't want to face the day. And I started wondering, what is happening? I went to the doctors. They said, okay, you've got your hormones changing a little bit. I was that age at that time. And I didn't want to go on medication. I took a little bit of palpitation tablets now and again when it was just feeling like, oh, my heart is just beating too fast. And then after about 3-4 months, at the back of my mind, I knew that I had to find a solution within me, because I'd read books in my time where it was about personal growth and things like that. So then, okay.
I've shared it on my side.
Okay, so I'm just wondering how I go to, do I cancel or just keep sharing? Okay.
I couldn't see yours, so I'm sharing it on my side.
Oh, okay, that's great. Okay, I don't know if I'll be able to move them around. So anyway, so then one day after so many months, I just found myself on the floor, kneeling, just praying for this feeling to go, and almost feeling like life isn't really worth living if this is how it's going to be. I started, and I think a lot of us talked about law of attraction and how things come in our life. So just sitting there praying, a bit of ray of hope. A couple of books I had on my shelf actually had talked about menopause and how that is a time for women to actually start to look within when we haven't done work on ourselves. So that gave me a message. Okay, I have to do something about working on myself. What is it that I haven't done? And really, on hindsight, I realized a lot of things, which I'll share as I go along. But some of the things were that I actually was living my life almost like a robot, just doing things, pleasing everybody, not really taking care of myself, not doing what I wanted to do. And the emotions were not there. You know, I wasn't connected with people at a deep level. And so I guess this is really what my work was about, to find myself. So on that journey, I went to the very first workshop that I got attracted to at the Vitality Show at Olympia. And the workshop that really caught my eye was Zest for Life. And I thought, yes, that's what I need. I need Zest for Life, because I really was living this life. I mean, it was kind of mundane. I was going on holidays. I was doing things. but a lot of it was not at a deep level of connection with myself or others. So at this workshop, Zest for Life, the tools I learned, I had never heard about those tools. Like your thoughts is what creates your feelings and emotions. Take responsibility for your own life, how to overcome fears. And this just blew my mind. And I started using the tools. I started feeling so great. And I thought, I've got to share this with people. Because why is it that I never heard of any of this before? Why is it that children at school don't hear these things? So that is really what was the start of my journey. I have been a podiatrist treating people's feet all these years. And then I started what I call treating people's head. So when I was treating people's feet, I often used to chat with them and gave them these tools. So I was feeling like I'm actually now treating the mind and the feet, making people be comfortable on their feet, but also comfortable in their own skin, because that's really what it means to have the freedom to be you. So as I learned these new tools, I became passionate, did a lot of training, and started running my own workshops, did some one-to-one coaching, became a speaker, and that's really how I'm on this path now. And 2 years ago, I decided to then put all this in a book so that it would be spread wider. And so my book is called Freedom to Be Me. It's got tools intertwined with my stories. And at end of every chapter, there's like a worksheet that people can work on their own issues. So we go on to the first tool. Well, let me just express. Let's start with the journey. Whenever we are starting on a journey, obviously we have to know where we are. So what I'd like to ask you is to think about, where do you think you are in your journey of freedom to be you? How free do you feel, comfortable in sharing your ideas, in being able to speak up, in being able to be what you want to do? Where are you today? If you want to put that on chat, it'll be lovely if you're willing to share. Where do you feel you are on this journey? And then when we start using the tools, we can see, okay, I'm getting there, I'm improving, I'm having more fun in life. And also consider, what is really stopping us? What are the things that stop us having that freedom? I was somebody who couldn't even talk to 3 people. I used to go and pick up my children from school. I used to stay in the car. I wouldn't go where there's these people chatting and really communicating. And I was thinking, who am I? I'm not. I feel confident that I'm on the journey towards being mindfully. I'm working on daily. Okay, great, Gemma. So that was how I was feeling. I'm not good enough, and I would just sit in the car and not go to people. And of course, by changing and using the tools, I'm now able to be here, sit here. I was going to say stand here, but sit here and talk. So yes. So what are the things that stops us? So let's look at the next slide, which just some of the thoughts that I had about what was stopping me. I never knew that I was special and unique. I had a lot of fears. I was living with fears of judgment, fears of failure, all kinds of things that would stop me being me. I wasn't accepting myself who I was, criticizing myself, blaming others. That's so common. They made me angry. They made me not do these things. Not having a full balance in life, because I was doing things for other people the whole time and working, but nothing for me. And then we complain, I haven't got enough time, I haven't got enough money. So all of those are the things that stop us and stop us being who we are. So let's now look at my 5 keys to happiness. Of course, in my book, there are many chapters, but I feel that these 5 keys encompass most of what I talk about in the book. So and these are all the things that I put into practice and I learned, and I love sharing them now. So thinking differently. How can we change our mindset? Again, we've heard about that today as well. Self-acceptance. I mean, we are so critical about ourselves and living in fear. What will others say? I can't speak up because people will laugh at me, and all those kind of fears. Blaming others, not taking responsibility, and not having a balanced life. Okay, so we'll talk about the first one now. What do I mean by thinking differently? So the next slide will show that. Okay. Okay, great. So to think differently, what is it? What I learned was that our beliefs and thoughts is really what caused my feelings. And then the behaviors obviously follow. And then I didn't have the freedom to be me. So what are the thoughts and beliefs? Where do they come from? Of course, a lot of them come from our childhood, how we are brought up, what people say to us, the things we hear, the things we experience in life. So all of those things then lead to how we start to feel about ourselves. If we are told things like, you didn't do that very well, that wasn't good, of course we are going to start thinking, I'm not good enough. And then we behave that way. That is how we then perform in life. And then we don't feel happy, we don't feel good enough. And even Gandhi said, what you think is what you become. So we really need to become very conscious of our thoughts. And I'll just run through very quickly. So then how do we change? What people say, think positive, but how do I change those thoughts? So this is what I've learned, how to create positive affirmations. Once we are aware, we've got some thoughts about, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this. What do? We change them into positive. So when we write positive sentences, often when I used to write, I used to think, okay, I'm not going to feel guilty anymore. But that's actually not positive, because the brain works in such a way that it's like Google. It'll take those words and give you what you're saying. So the words for me when I didn't want to feel guilty was, I approve of myself. Whatever I did at the time was with the best knowledge I had, and I can change what I want to change, and I can learn from it. Also, bring it into the present tense as much as you can. I am now in the process of feeling more confident. Rather than, sometimes I say, oh, I'm really confident, but then there's a little voice that says, no, you're not. So I'm in the process of, I'm now becoming this. And you can only change yourself. You cannot change other people. And that's where the, not blaming other people comes in. Okay, so the next then the tool is accepting ourselves. Who tells us we are the light that shines the world? Well, Rumi is saying that. Don't you know that you are the light that shines the world? And earlier somebody said, we are all important, we are all needed. We all need to be here because we were all born to contribute something in life to our fellow human beings. So know that you are the light. You were born here with potential, with gifts. Okay, we can go next slide now. And we are unique and we are special. Imagine the 8 billion people, I think we are told now, in the world. Who has your fingerprints? Who has your features? Absolutely nobody. Similarly, nobody has you exactly as you are. Whether we have weaknesses, we have strengths, they're all part of us. Some weaknesses are our conditioning, as I said earlier, and they may be conditioning which is stopping us, and we can change when we become aware of them. But in this moment, you are perfectly just as you are. And each moment creates the next moment. So, but acceptance of this moment, yes, okay, I made this mistake, that's fine. I'm not good at this, that's fine. And I'm not good at certain things, but that's completely okay. We all have a journey through life, and we learn things as we go along. And every one of us has a different journey. But we end up judging ourselves. Oh, why am I not like that person? Why don't I do things like that? But you do things your way. When I was writing my book, yes, I think a lot of us have this imposter syndrome. Who am I? But my way of expressing was unique to me. And there are a lot of people who will resonate with my way, and others will resonate with other people's ways. So we all have these different journeys in life. And we need to accept that whatever we learn, however we are molded, makes us this individual person. So how do we then express our uniqueness? We write the qualities of our qualities. How often do we sit there and say, I'm really great at this, I'm really great at this, I have this strength? Very rarely do we comment, on our own strengths and weaknesses, and look at our weaknesses. And really, the weaknesses might only be a very small list. But yeah, look at your strengths. Look at when people compliment you. Yes, thank you. Yes, I think I did that well. And whatever you want to change, you can change. So after self-acceptance come overcoming our fears. I think is the next one on my slide. Yes. So what are our fears? There are some which happen to us, which are like illnesses, something, those. And we know that we handle when these things happen in our life, when we lose somebody in life. And the others one are obviously taking action. Public speaking apparently is the biggest fear people have. So a lot of fears. So just become conscious. What am I fearful of? And then how do we, okay, next one. How do we overcome those fears? Well, one thing to know is that everyone has fears. So I used to think just because I'm fearful of doing something, that means I can't do it. But actually knowing that everybody has fears and it's what you do with it is really what makes the difference, is what helped me carry on. Okay, next one. Again, another truth of fear is 95% of our fears are actually false expectations. We think they will come, well, they're real in our mind, in our perception, but actually 90% out. We think, oh, people will laugh at me when I go and say something. Do they really? No. And somebody might laugh, but that's their need to laugh. Okay, next one. We need to, only way to step out of our comfort zone and do something is just to go out there and do it. Okay, so next one. So become aware of thoughts. Again, that's where we have to use those thoughts in almost all situations. Create positive affirmations, and that's how you overcome your fears once you're aware. Okay? So often we just end up blaming other people. I used to blame people, like, well, my husband mostly. He used to express himself like he wanted me to be home more, and I would think he's stopping me doing this. He wants to control and all those kind of things. But when I learned I'm responsible, then I started asking myself questions like, what would I do if I'm responsible? And I became more assertive. So instead of blaming, okay, next one, we need to then look at, who am I blaming? Am I blaming my boss? Am I blaming my husband? Am I blaming other people? The power is given up when we blame other people. And be aware that we are responsible for our reactions to other people, to what other people do. Okay? Yeah, so basically those two questions. What will I do if I'm responsible? And that really then starts to give you the answers to what actions you need to take. Okay, and living a balanced life. I think this is probably a lot of people know about it. I won't go too much into it. But balance, when I say balance, and I think Gangan said, wherever he is with family, he spends 100% of the time there. So mind and body in each area of our life. And become really conscious, how much time are you giving to yourself? Because we do end up giving our time to other people a lot. And so, but me time, to me, makes me feel, when I do things that I enjoy, that gives me my self-worth. When I accept myself, that gives me self-worth. And of course, all the other areas of our life, if we do equally, of course it can't be 100% equal, but as much as we can in all areas of our life, that sustain us. Okay, so finally, you can follow me. My website is azminajiwa.com. I'm on the table as well today. And you can download 3 chapters from my website. And there's an 8-week workshop coming up on Freedom to Be You. Thank you so much for listening. And if there's any questions I can answer for a couple of minutes we've got, please let me know. Thank you
so much. I was just looking at the time and thinking Tristan's session's actually just started. So I am going to have to shoot off now. But if anybody wants to stay in this room and this session and speak to Azmina, Azmina will be available in her booth as well. Do connect with her throughout the day. Azmina, I want to speak to you so much. Hopefully I'll connect with you in the booth later on. Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful story and journey.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Bye-bye, everybody.